I don't care what broke us up. We know that we weren't good together.
You've likely watched the scene on Sister Wives when Kody took Aurora to have her ears pierced, right? Well, let me cut you off right there. That scene wasn't just stage, it was out-and-out fiction. And today I'm giving you the behind-the-scenes scoop on what really went down, my friends. Welcome back, I'm Sienna, and this is the TLC Future. Let's discuss ear piercings not merely as accessories, but as symbols of much deeper familial dynamics and control. Here's the reality. I never desired my daughters to have their ears pierced when they were little. So think about how I felt when the show depicted Kody taking Aurora in to have hers done, like it was some great milestone plot twist. Her ears had already been pierced years earlier than even that. Scene was filmed, proof, look to their Las Vegas ears. There's even real footage such as that drawn-up family picture Robin had done, where you can see earrings in the ears of Aurora. Why fake it? Then why do something that already existed? Because it wasn't about earrings, it was about image, about control, about who gets to be obedient or rebellious within the family, and it all circulates around how things shifted when Robin came along. Let's rewind. When I originally married Meri, she didn't even have pierced ears. In fact, I removed my own earrings so that I could be like her in terms of values. Janelle had hers pierced, but when she married Kody, she quit wearing them. Christine had 2 piercings, but discarded the earrings during marriage. As well, earrings were more than jewelry. They were a statement, and Kody was a rule maker. Next came Robin. She initially went along with Kody's stringent rules. No earrings, minimal makeup, demure clothing. She was trying to be considered the good wife. But then something changed. Robin began sporting heavier makeup, skimpier clothes, and yes, earrings, and Kody, he no longer seemed to care about it. This quiet realignment broadcast a loud message as Robin grew up. So did the expectations. Suddenly, Janelle and Christine were permitted makeup and earrings once more. It was as though the rules had changed, but not for everyone now. Here's where it gets all the more knotted when the other wives permitted their daughters to pick when to pierce their ears. They were remonstrated with for being disrespectful or disobedient. But Robin, she spun a totally different story. She positioned herself as the rule follower, the devoted mom. Remember that staged moment with Aurora? The show made it seem like Aurora was patiently waiting for Kody's permission, that it was a sweet daddy otter moment. But the truth, it was a setup due to only one parent could accompany her, and surprise, she chose Kody. That was no coincidence, it was a staged effort to rewrite their family history. Let that sink in. Kody could go get earrings with Aurora, but he couldn't sit through his daughter's spinal surgery with Christine. The contrast is heartbreaking. And the original kids, they're not blind to this dynamic, they precisely know where they are standing. Let's not forget about the role of being on television, residing in Vegas, and the stress of keeping up an image. Everyone's look changed over time, but Robin, she took it further. She utilized the show to reenact a personal memory, a childhood ear-piercing experience she had with her stepdad. Honestly, that's bordering on nostalgic to distasteful. Next time you catch a sweet moment on Sister Wives, ask yourself who's writing the story anyway. Did anyone else sense that? Tension creeping up during the ear-piercing ceremony. You could almost feel the jitters in the air. Aurora's over-the-top clapping, her forced skipping, it all seemed so rehearsed. None of that scene felt natural. Even Kody's responses were strange. His words, the attempt to be calm but emotive, it did not ring true. He was acting, not parenting. And then the ultimate line. Aurora has honored my authority as father. Convenient words, aren't they? This wasn't a heartwarming family milestone. It was a staged effort to put Kody in a positive light and send also underhanded guilt trips to the remaining part of his children. Call it what it is. Stage drama, not genuine emotion, and talking about performances. Let's discuss the reactions of Kody after Garrison's untimely death. That's when things really went strange. Is anybody else getting the hey? GBs though, not the emotional kind when Kody started discussing grief coursing through his esophagus. Yes, his esophagus. He delivered it as if sorrow were some sort of projectile feeling blasting off from his throat. What was that? Even the whole funeral segment was like Kody's one-man play when Gwendolyn dissolved into tears who came to comfort her. Robin always on camera. Then the dream. Ah yes, the dream in which Garrison apparently instructed Kody to quit playing depressing tunes. It was less sentimental and more cringeworthy. A poorly scripted soap opera and the cowboy monologue that was the clincher. Kody recounted himself traveling. by train alongside a coffin, a la a vintage spaghetti western throw in his melodramatic pose and designer cowboy bling. And you'd think you were observing a character from a period drama, not a bereaved father. Let's get real here, observing Kody. And Robin mourn doesn't inspire sympathy, it inspires skepticism. The emotion is so melodramatically played, so histrionic, that it actually belittles authentic grief. Subsequent seasons would truly be more believable without them. The glare on their practice grief is tiresome. Kody appears to exist in some sort of fantasy western, in which he's a solitary cowboy, stoic, misinterpreted, excessively bedecked in turquoise, and emotionally inaccessible. And then there's that line from the funeral. "Why? You gone, boy." It was to be poignant, but it fell somewhere between uncomfortable and ridiculous. Perhaps the dream occurred. Perhaps it didn't. But with Kody, every sentence comes across as an audition to gain sympathy instead of actual contemplation. Even when he talks, it's a bizarre mix of complicated words and meandering ideas, as if he is using a thesaurus to sound profound, but the point never quite comes across. And let's not even mention his understanding of human anatomy. Grief doesn't pierce through your lungs like some internal firework display. So the takeaway here is when you watch these episodes look beneath the surface, the emotion may be boisterous, but that does not make it authentic. Sometimes the silence of those off camera tells us much more. Let's discuss that line again. Grief shooting out of my esophagus. Not just medically incorrect, it's weirdly theatrical. It sounds like something he learned from a soap opera, thought sounded deep, and ran with it. But grief, actual grief, isn't poetry. It's not a monologue, it's raw, it's ugly. It dismantles you in areas no one notices. Some people talk about deep hurting sobs, sounds that stay with you, that haunt you, that cause you to wake up gasping for air at night. That's sadness Kody's. Though it was all about shot placement and lines, worse, what makes it even more difficult to swallow is that Kody hardly had a relationship with Garrison. He confirmed it himself. "I don't remember telling my boys." That sentence in itself says a lot. He wasn't present in their lives. He dodged actual talk, actual touch. Except if Robin happened to be around now. All of a sudden, he's in the limelight spewing metaphors regarding trains, sunsets, and celestial awakenings, occupying emotional space, as if he was grieving the most. Not the siblings, not the mother. Him, and then there was the recurring dream again. Garrison supposedly went to see him and instructed him to cease playing melancholic music. That tale seemed to have been chosen specifically to tug at the heartstrings of Mormon audiences, a group Kody no longer even claims association with publicly. He left the religion recall. So what's the purpose, apart from attempting to look spiritually attuned? That's the way it is with narcissistic bereavement. It's less about who's lost. It's more about how the narcissist feels about losing someone. The limelight, the acting, the show. Let's keep it simple. Kody's mourning wasn't for Garrison. It wasn't about paying respects to his son or consoling his family. It was a publicity stunt, a senseless platform for an actor who plays the part of the misunderstood dad so well, the solitary cowboy with tears and sunset knowledge. But none of it was real. And Robin, exactly like written her feelings, feels staged, as if she's reading from an empathy teleprompter. If things go off script, she has no idea what to do. Mechanical controlled, flat agree. Kody likely did have feeling, but it wasn't unconditional love, it was transactional emotion after. Loyalty, obedience, control. That's not love. That's a contract from his cowboy cosplay prior to the funeral to his poetic tangents and over-symbolic mourning. It was apparent Kody was grieving an iteration of himself, not his son. This wasn't a lost, broken man. This was a man broken by losing control over his image. So no, we weren't seeing a father mourn. We were seeing a narcissistic man act, and it was draining. But here's the question I'll leave you with. What does it look like when someone finally calls out Kody Brown's ego on national television? Stay tuned. This tell-all could be the moment fans have been waiting for, the face-off, the unraveling, the reveal, and then boom, I want to shut you down. Now you can't shut me down. Yeah, I can. Is this a tell-it-all or a preschool standoff? Kody, always the victim, always the drama queen, attempted to bully the host again. But this time, Sukanya Krishnan didn't back down. She held firm, calm, cool, professional, and didn't give an inch to him. She navigated Kody's ego with the skill of an experienced matador dealing with a rampaging bull with poise and dominance. Maybe here's a thought, perhaps it is time TLC shook things up. Maybe it is time they replaced her with a guy, not because Suki is not incredible. She is. But because Kody only shows respect to testosterone, you notice it in how he couches around men, how he brags, stammers, and gets oddly giddy. Remember when he called David devastatingly handsome? That wasn't just admiration. That was a schoolgirl-level fluster, and it was weirdly revealing. Kody doesn't know how to deal with men who don't defer to him now. Imagine a tell, all with a host like Alan Richardson or Jason Momoa, confident, grounded, unimpressed, the kind of guy who doesn't blink when Kody throws a tantrum. Kody wouldn't know whether to puff his chest or hide behind his hair. He thrives on dominating women, emotionally, interrupting, mocking, posturing. But with a strong, level-headed man in the room, he'd either try to bro out awkwardly or totally unravel, and that's exactly what needs to happen. Kody's misogyny has been baked into this show for years. The condescension, the shifting blame, the I'm the head of the household nonsense, and production can't alter who he is, but they can refrain from providing him with soft targets to tread on. They need someone who pushes him, and when he utters, "I want to shut you down," consequences must follow. Cut the mic, cut the check, cut the footage. Let's discuss. Suki once again, however, because she did more than simply hold her own. Her cool tenacity with Robin Chef's kiss. She came with the actual questions, particularly about Kody and Janelle's relationship, and didn't flinch when Robin parried like she was running for Congress. And let's not forget the larger problem here. Kody attempts to weaponize his anger to get out of responsibility. And when that fails, he pouts, or he threatens, or he monologues. TLC needs to understand this. Kody's not scary. He's just boisterous, so the next time he attempts to hijack a tell, all with cowboy poetry, sensitive ego, and pseudo-dominance, have someone who doesn't give a crap about his validation sit across from him because Kody Brown doesn't need a safe space. He needs a wake-up call. Her measured professional pushback was a stark departure from past tell. Alls in which Kody shut down everyone like he was hosting his own ego party. Perhaps the fact that the show now has an expiration date means producers are less afraid to baby him. Finally right. But let's face it, if TLC really wants straight talk, not scripted sanitied sound bites, the producers need to flip the formula. Get a male host who can hold his own with Kody, someone who doesn't. Waver, who doesn't butter him up, and who isn't afraid to call out Kody's theatrics and Robin's highly scripted grief circus. Because here's the thing, the whole let him say, "I don't think I'm gonna answer that thing," isn't accountability, it's a soft pass. It allows Kody to dodge accountability while still centering attention. TLC continues to toss out bizarre questions such as, "Do you use protection?" or "Who is your favorite ex?" But when Kody dodges actual emotional accountability, crickets, they let it pass. Let's be real, Kody has a barrier up between himself and women. His demeanor changes, his stance hardens. He either patronizes or insults the oversized tampon method of interviewing whereby female hosts must take his vitriol. With a smile is old news. You know what would rattle him. A two-hosting arrangement. Number 1, an assertive male interviewer with emotional awareness. Part 2, someone like Suki, sharp and earthy, in charge of emotional nuance, or better still, a therapist, who understands the show and the patterns. Someone who can sit in that chair and say, "Kody, let's discuss why you always blame everyone but yourself." Someone who is not afraid to say, "Robin, do you see the role you've had in the dissolution of these relationships?" Because let's be real, Suki was terrific, but she's trying to hold a cracked dam together with one hand while the deluge of Kody's delusion pours out. And if you're still curious as to why Sister Wives is coming apart at the seams, before our eyes, this tell-all pretty much lays it all out. Here's the thing, I thought David and I should go on a guy trip together, and then I went, no, that would just be so uncool to Christine. Excuse me, did TLC actually suggest Kody take a guy trip with David, Christine's new husband, knife in the kidney too? Zero, did nobody in the room take a moment to think, oh wait, this could be horribly insensitive and oddly manipulative? Christine and Kody are exes for a reason. David is not Kody's new best friend. This awkward bromance plot is just a retread on rewriting Kody's journey and putting him at the center again. Let's get real. Christine doesn't want this. David certainly doesn't want this. And the audience, we really do not want this, TLC. What are we doing even here? If this is the best effort at making up, it's not only tone deaf, it's offensive, undefined. Stop trying to create closure for the sake of viewership. Let these people move on. Let the viewer catch their breath, because if you just keep pushing Kody as the tragic anti-hero, the show's just going to continue to lose credibility. They were just being nice to the host. So what's the payoff here? Undefined. Folks love to discuss how much money the cast gets for rehashing the same drama. But perhaps TLC is the true reason that this cash cow won't die. They're keeping the ghost of a family that no longer exists on the air. Not for healing, not for truth, but for one final ratings boost. At the end of that odd segment, you could see it, just a flash of desperation in the back of Kody's eyes. Undefined, because deep down he knows it too. Sister Wives no longer has good memories with it. Undefined, for anyone, the production team knows it. The only reason the show works is by thrusting people together who obviously don't want to share the same space. Undefined, and even that's beginning to break down. There's nothing remaining. Janelle and Meri have closed out Coyote Pass, with Kody and Robin undefined. Christine sued Kody for past child support. It's been settled. No one's sharing money anymore. No one's co-parenting in public anymore. And above all, nobody's emotionally invested anymore. The OG3A, Janelle, Meri, Christine, they appear to be finished. They're over it. The only reason they would come back is that the producers pull them in for another reunion special shrouded in false nostalgia and unfinished mourning. But Kody and Robin, they don't want to walk without the show, without TLC's money. Their future gets hazy real quick. That's why we're still getting awkward scenes of Kody fake pitching a guy's trip with David. That wasn't a joke. It was a pathetic Hail Mary to see if anyone still wants him around. David and Christine shutting it down with politeness and precision was chef's kiss satisfying. Painful too, because it exposed just how disconnected Kody really is. And then there's Suki finally standing up to him like no one else on the show ever has, watching Kody's face as he realized he couldn't control the conversation. Priceless, deserved, long overdue. But even with her doing her best, we're still just watching sad reruns of what used to be a story about plural love and resilience, and now it's all about awkward funerals, unresolved resentment, and individuals who are clearly just trying to be left alone. The reality, no real connection keeps this family together anymore. Not emotional, not economic, not even contractual. Apart from what remains of their ties to TLC, they each have individual lives now. Individual futures, individual identities, ally sides from a few entanglements of property and a shared history they'd all rather forget. There's nothing more to document. So what's next? Probably 1 or 2 more seasons filled with half-hearted scenes, recycled tension, and Kody awkwardly trying to stay relevant while everyone else moves forward. But once the curtain drops, once the cameras stop rolling, Sister Wives is over, and honestly, maybe it should be more episodes about selling Coyote Pass, Janelle's farm, or Meri's eternal relationship limbo. Let's be honest, who's actually tuning in for that anymore? TLC has wrung every penny out of this show. The budget is a shadow of its former self. showed us how little reality TV really costs to make. Most of the original children have nothing to do with the cameras anymore. The viewers waning. It's not because people care, they're watching out of habit, nostalgia, or just to see the train wreck in slow motion once this was must-see TV. Now it's just a tired, knotted mess. Bottom line, this show is finished. It should be gracefully. The wives have moved on. The family has broken apart beyond restoration. The story's over. Also everything else. Now it's just background noise. And if you need a final nail in the coffin, let's discuss Robin's guarantee. Suki poses a simple question to Robin in the teaser for Part 3 of Season 19 of Sister Wives. Do you still believe in polygamy? Robin answers hesitantly, if I had some kind of guarantee and Kody was up for it, a guarantee of what, Robin? That you'll always be the preferred wife, that you'll get to sit on a porch with sister wives who want nothing to do with you, that your children will always be the center of your universe, that Kody will never try to make amends with his other kids. Let's be real. There are no promises in polygamy. There aren't even promises in monogamy when you marry somebody legally or spiritually. You roll the dice, you trust, you sacrifice, you show up for the entire family. But instead, Robin held on to control. She watched as Kody moved further away from the other wives and their children. She said she wanted family but tolerated favoritism when it worked in her favor. She might not have asked for it squarely, but she never turned it down either. And when the other wives could see the writing on the wall, They made the only rational decision. They departed. Not because they were treated poorly, but because they were marginalized, because they were told to accept leftovers while Robin was given the entire banquet. Now she seeks a guarantee. Before embracing polygamy, anew, it does not work that way. Kody did not have a guarantee when he wed you, Robin. He wagered everything and lost the majority of it to be with you. You risked it too. But when it was apparent the cards were stacked in your direction, the rest of the family eventually folded as well. You received the legal wedlock. You received the house, you received the porch, you received the surname, and now you have the